Hi everyone, it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel. Today is my monthly collaboration with Amanda over at Rise and Procraftinate, and we decided to do a mystery package. We each decided to stamp some things, maybe send a background, some images, some sentiments, I don't know. We just sent each other some stuff. And Amanda sent me this panel here that is one of the Gina K foil meets. It is called Hot Dots. And she used the Deco Foil Prince Periwinkle foil on it. And I am just ink blending here with some Distress inks. I have the new ones. I have Saltwater Taffy, Villainous Potion, Prize Ribbon, and Salvaged Patina. And I am just blending these on with some of these little ink blending brushes that I have. For my Distress inks, I just have like one for each color family. For my Distress oxides, I have like the overabundance. I have one for each of my Distress oxide colors, but my Distress inks don't seem to need that. Anyway, I am just blending this on here. At first, I wasn't sure what size card I was going to make, so I have blended this enough for either a slimline, no, a mini slimline, or even an A2 panel, and then I do decide to just like blend out the whole rest of the panel, just so that I can make a slimline card, because that's what I end up doing. And one nice thing about slimline cards is as long as they fit in whatever envelope you're using, they're the right size. So mine actually turns out to be 4 by 8.5, I believe, when it's all said and done. So here I'm just blending on that pink down at the bottom, the saltwater taffy. Now, it's been a little bit since I have colored, but it's been a little bit since I have used my Copics. So the coloring portion of this is a little bit longer because I colored the image. Well, you'll see how it all works out, but I colored the image and then I kind of go in and add more depth and dimension and more details, because it took me a while to get to the end result where I want it to be. So I'm just filling these in with some YG13. I just was kind of blocking out the color. It will make it easier for me to continue to like find all the parts that are supposed to belong to the frog if I fill them in green first. And actually, when I fill this in, I completely fail to color in one of his hands until I get like further along. But when I first colored the frogs in green, if you like that like one layer flat coloring, could have just kept with that. But now I'm going to add a little bit more depth on these frogs by adding in some shadow areas. And this also could be like kind of your last step, add a little bit of depth and then blend it out. And these also could be completed, but I decided to keep going. So this collab with Amanda, we've been doing this for a couple of years now. We're not as super consistent as we should be, but we try to do this every month. And this month, we were both kind of at a loss on what to do. And I always link our playlist where we've done our collabs, but every month it's kind of fun to see if we can like up one another or do a better job. And one of our first collabs, we'd send each other some backgrounds, and that was probably one of our favorite collabs. Actually, that was one where I showed a card that I absolutely hated, but I showed it anyway because there were some things about it that I did like. Anyway, I wanted to just, I don't know, I always want to do her justice when she sends me stuff. We have very different styles. We're very, very close. We will definitely bounce ideas off each other, but we have very different styles when it comes to card making and a lot of things in general. We're just understand each other's style and try to challenge each other, I think. But I am coloring these frogs up. You see here I added like more depth, more dimension, and they're fine, but they just, I don't know. I had to sit on it for a minute. I just wasn't sure that they were exactly what I wanted them to be. Um, so I moved on to the purple. I'm using this purple combination, which is VO4, VO5, V17. And then for lots of depth and dimension, I'm going to add the BV08. It adds a really neat dimension to this purple. Purples don't have like a real wide range of, well, like a complete range of colors. You can get lots of depth and dimension with the purples, but you just gotta kind of be careful. And you might have to go outside the family, like here, for the BV08 to be the deep dark color. But you can see what that does to like the dimension of the balloon and stuff. Anyway, back to Amanda. She's a very talented card maker. And I don't think she gives herself enough credit. A lot of times, one of the previous videos that she recently posted, it was so enthralling. I was so excited to watch it. I watched it like a sports game. I'm telling you, I was cheering her on the whole time she was making her card. She's very technique driven. So if you want to learn a technique, she's got a very good channel for that. Lots of fun, like messy techniques. She does lots of stenciling and ink blending and stuff like that. But she also has a lot of videos with like the Cricut and scan and cut and stuff like that for like more technical things. She's a very good card maker, and I'd highly recommend, even if you don't subscribe here at my channel, that you make sure that you head on over to her channel and definitely subscribe there. I'm sure that there will be at least one video that you will enjoy. Do you see that cap moving on my glass mat? I have a feeling I was doing laundry when I was coloring this and it was like shaking my house. Anyway, I am just continuing on with my colors. So far, I have added the aqua color I'm going to use. The aqua combination I had was BG10, 11, 13, and 49. Now I'm adding the pink combination, which is RB02, 04, 14, and 19. I wanted these colors to be very reminiscent of the colors I used in the background. So you'll see I'm trying to keep the pink to be kind of saltwater taffy-ish pink, the purple to be sort of villainous potion, etc. I just want to really reinforce that color combination that I used. And I think that this color combination came out of that foil that she used. I thought it was so pretty. It's called Prince Periwinkle, and not only does it have that like periwinkle cast to it in certain light, but you could definitely get a rainbow in other light. And that's kind of one of the really neat things about foiling is it's definitely, you want to play with it, you want to touch it. It's smooth, but it's shiny, and you can do a lot with foil and foil techniques. So if you haven't tried hot foiling or even like foiling with toner, I would recommend it. I think that it's something that you would miss out on technique wise if you didn't give it a shot. So if you're on the fence about it, I mean, go ahead. Why not? I will give you permission to spend your money on all of your things. um, I will have as much of this stuff linked below if you are looking to, shop for any of it. This Art Impressions frog set that she sent this stamped images of, I will need to own this. It's super fun. For some reason, I am thinking like Louisiana, and I'm not sure what it is that has placed this in my head, but when I think frogs, I think Louisiana. I know there's like a Disney princess that's got like frogs and stuff, but I'm sure that's not where that gets put together in my brain. But I feel like there was a cartoon when I was younger that had like I don't know, frog from the bayou or something. And when I see frogs, that's what I think of. But honestly, here I wasn't sure which image I was going to use or what I was even going to do. But this image with the cake and the stuff made me think of like a big giant birthday party in Louisiana, and I don't know, I just thought I needed need to color this here first. um, I do go ahead and add some additional images in a little bit, but first I'm just coloring this frog image here, and getting it the way that I want it. You can still see here that the frogs I have dimension, but they are still very flat, and I don't know. I thought that they definitely needed more help. And here's where I realized I hadn't colored his hand edge very well, so I was fixing that. And then I was like, well, adding a little more depth and dimension, and it wasn't doing it for me. I wasn't getting everything that I wanted out of it. So I decided to just keep going. Colored the mouth. I just used a flat R24 for the mouth, and then I pulled out my Y17 and added my yellow like to the flame, and then I decided I was going to add like glow from the candle onto the frog, and then I liked the color combination and the variation in color that it adds. You have the greens, you have the really bright yellow greens, you have those deep like crevice greens, the deep dark greens, and I just thought it added so much more dimension to my frog. So I went with it and colored the rest of them. And now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add some dots. In the shadows, I used the deepest, darkest color. And I'm going to go ahead and add dots of the next darkest color over top that, and then kind of blend it out. It adds texture and dimension without it looking, like it's not supposed to be there. So that's how I added lots more depth and dimension to my frogs, because I just felt like they clearly were flat, especially once I colored that cake. For the frosting, I used an earth tone combination, the E93, 95, and 97 colors. I normally wouldn't color a cake, but I thought, well, with all this color, going on, the green, the aqua, the pink, the purple, the blue, that I needed kind of a neutral to do the cake. And instead of doing it like almost like a white for, like a white cake, I thought that the tan color, peachy tan of the E93, 95, 97 would be really good. So I trimmed that out, and then I decided to, I didn't like the white, the little bit of white outline. Now I could have threw this on my brother's skin cut, but I only had one sheet here, and I didn't want to like screw it up. So I did fussy cut this, and then I used my X-Acto knife to get in between. I just have a piece of paper towel on my desk here just to catch the extra ink so that I don't get it on my Spellbinders mat that's underneath there. And I'm just using I think it's the BG13 to go around the edge. It does match the Salvaged Patina pretty good, so it's not going to look out of place. Now, where this is going on, the background isn't always the Salvaged Patina, it's the other colors, but because they are cohesive, it will look just fine, and it won't have that weird white outline. But I couldn't cut it right on the lines. There's a lot of single like balloon strings and stuff like that. And there was like one little piece of confetti that I did separately. And while I was deciding on what to do next, I decided I was going to color this border strip that she sent, that Amanda sent. This is the Pink and Main Trims. Maybe it's Spellbinders. So yeah, Spellbinders So Sweet Trims. And in my head, I was thinking like stage. You ever been to a concert and there's like, the edge of the stage? So I colored that green. It does change a little bit here, but that's where I started. Now I'm using the Picket Fence Slimline Lily Pad stencil, and I'm going to go ahead and I am going to stencil over part of this foiled ink blended panel. But I didn't want to stick my stuff down directly to it because I didn't want to pull up the foil. So here I have a piece of Post-it tape that I used sticky side up, and just caught the edge of the stencil, and now I'm using just some remnant pieces to hold it down. And then I'm pulling out some stencil butter. This is by the Crafters Workshop, and I have 3 colors here. When I picked my colors, I picked kind of the primary colors, and then a few that would be hard to mix, like this chartreuse green. I definitely think that that would be hard for me to mix. It would be the tiniest bit of blue in a whole bunch of yellow, when in fact like a deeper green like this that I just mixed up is easier to create. So I didn't purchase a dark green like that. I just figured I could create one. And now I'm going to use the combination of the two, and I am going to stencil just this little bit of lily pad part for the bottom of my card. Um, like I said, my thought process when I see these frogs, I immediately think New Orleans, and I immediately think like Mardi Gras party. So in my mind, I'm setting this up where they are at a party, a birthday party, in maybe during Mardi Gras season, and there is a stage, and there is a maybe one of those, what are those called? Those mirror balls that shine the light everywhere at a party. I feel like that's where we're at. For this piece that I'm going to use as the stage, I decided to go over the top of my Copic marker with this Cosmic Shimmer Opal Blaze Polish in Gilded Avocado. I wiped it on with a Q-tip and then just wiped it off with a paper towel just so that it would dry. You see me lift that up. She put it on a piece of Post-it tape, but that one little tiny piece of confetti that I had trimmed out, cut out, colored, and all that, I stuck to there so that to that piece of Post-it tape so that I do not lose it. So here's one of the additional images. It's a little frog. Before I cut him out, I actually did color around him with that BG13. That way I could just trim him out and I didn't have to worry about running around the edges and all of that with the marker after I was done. So I did that one, and then I did color one more, that like jumping frog there. You can see him up in the top. I didn't show me doing it, but I did. There it is. And then I also took that piece of trim and laid it on a piece of black cardstock and just hand trimmed that out, just so that I could have a backer on that. Like I said, I wanted it to look like the edge of like a stage. So that's what I was hoping to achieve with this. And then I did use a piece of peel-offs from Love from Lizzie, and just put that on the top there. It's like a little finished edge. That black is kind of glossy. I just thought it would be, I don't know, perfect there. For the frogs, I did stick them down with just regular Pink and Main Easy Squeeze adhesive. And then for the balloon, I added a piece of foam tape behind it just so the balloon itself would pop up. I adhered down my jumping frog, my little piece of confetti, and the lower frog is sitting on a lily pad, and you can see all the shine, and I think it's pretty stellar. I filled in the balloon here with some glossy accents, and then I'm gonna make sure that there's no air balloon or air bubbles, but that's not really how that worked out. I'm sure there were a few, and I let that dry. And now I'm going to work on what sentiments I want. She had stamped them on a separate sheet so that if I wanted to use dies, I could. I just chose to cut some out here in like little strips. I feel like the white was absolutely necessary to kind of give the eye a place to rest. And this has got a lot going on with this card. So it definitely needed that like plain white sentiment, in my opinion. You have to let me know if I did that right or wrong. And then I just mounted this piece of black cardstock and then added it to a card base, this slimline card base. And that is my card. Oh, wait, you know what else I did? She sent those Pink and Main gems. And I used them. I thought, man, I think they would fit perfectly in these spaces. And she had sent there's two colors. There's like clear and then one that's like a purpley kind of cast off. So I alternated those. And then my balloon was dry, so I added a little bit of this Spectrum Noir shimmer pen, and then I sealed that in with another layer of the glossy accents. I re-added the black dots to the frog's eyes just so that they didn't get lost with a black glaze pen, and that is my card. I really hope that I did Amanda's items justice. I definitely hope that you jump over to her channel and check out what she made with the items I sent her. I'm not even going to tell you what I sent. And definitely subscribe over there while you're over there. Amanda has a lot of great things to share, and you'd be missing out if you didn't subscribe. So I'll talk to you later. And as I always say, give cards generously. Bye.